Okay, so we missed class today, which is Thursday, September 9th, so I'm going to try to make it up to you guys with this. So this week I do want you to go ahead and work on the in-class assignment number 3. I will link to it in the announcement in D2L. So this is what it looks like. I also found a mistake here. It says my jacket is not war, so it should be warm right there. I figure you guys could crack that code and find that mistake. And then drawing a truth table from start to finish in here. So I have a feeling that these truth tables are probably what's giving you guys some problems. So that's what I wanted to do first, was just address some of that in section 3.2 with some of those truth tables. So let's just go through drawing some truth tables. And we're going to draw them from start to finish. So let's start off kind of small. Let's do not P and Q. Alright. So doing one from start to finish, you know Alex always gives you the starting for P and Q. So they always start off looking like this. And then they'll give you the last column, you know, this one. And then if you look closely, there's a little thing in here where you can click on a plus sign, and that'll add a column in for you. That's a way for you to show your work in there. It's not something that ends up being graded. Only your final column is graded. However, you do need to show that work either on paper or on that truth table. So I would advise you to do it on the truth table. That way when I look at your answers, I can see if you can get partial credit. You know, I can see your work, because that's essentially your work. Otherwise, if it's just wrong, I can't do anything with that. Okay, so there is only one column that we need to add in here before we get to this final one. And that is the not P column. So we're going to add that column in there. The not P is the opposite of P, so that's just all those truth values in P, just the opposites of them. So that'll be a false, false, true, true. And then lastly here, we just need to find the and, the conjunction, for this column, the not P, and the Q. So we're looking for the conjunction, that's the and, of these two. So remember, with and, you have to do both things in order for it to be true. If you say, I'm going to vacuum and walk the dog today, in order for that statement to be true, you have to include both. Okay? Alright, so let's do the and here. So looking at these two, that's a true and a false. So the only way it's going to be true is if they're both true. So that one's false. False and false, it's false. True and true, that one's true. False and true, that one's false. So there's my final answer, and this was the column that I had to add in as my work. So something that I think you guys might find useful that I'm going to post along with this is a summary, wherever it may be. I don't remember where I put it. Well, I guess I do know where I put it. Hang on, I promise I'm coming right back. There it is. So this is a summary that I wrote up to try to help you with all the different things, the different parts of truth tables, you know, the conjunction, disjunction, conditional, biconditional, things like that. Right? Why is that blurry? Oh, that's not helping. Okay. It's a hot mess here. So this is just kind of a quick reference guide, you know, explaining, you know, conjunctions and, it's only true when both are true. The disjunctions, the or, it's only false when both are false. The conditional is like a promise, the biconditional. So, you know, just some quick little notes that you might just want to keep handy. And I tried to color code it for you. Although this orange isn't looking so much orange. It's looking more red like this, but, you know, whatever. So yeah, I thought that might be a nice little quick reference guide to post along with these notes as well. So, all right, let's draw another truth table from start to finish. This time, let's do a conditional statement. So let's do a not P and Q implies P. So there's going to be some steps getting up to this one, okay? So we're going to start with P and Q, obviously. So true, true, false, false, true, false, true, false. When you're writing these, make absolutely sure that you're clear on your writing. I've seen students before that just scribble these down really quickly, and you know, they like, oh, they drew a true, and they're like, oh, I meant for that to be a false, so they go and do this. And I'm like, what is that? You can't, which one is that? So, you know, make sure that your writing is clear, that you don't go and make a mistake because you can't read your own handwriting. Okay, so what are we going to need? Well, let's kind of treat this sort of like the order of operations, right? Let's do what's inside the parentheses first. So let's make a column for P and Q. Then we'll make a column for not P and Q. This column is going to be super easy because it's just going to be the opposite truth values from this column. All right, so P and Q. We got our little quick reference guide for the and. Remember the and, only true when both are true. So true, true, that one's true. True and false, nope, have to do both in order for the and to be true. False and true, nope, got to do both for the and to be true. False and false, nope. The not of what I just did is just the opposite truth values. So that's going to be a false, true, true, true. Now, lastly, I'm going to take this stuff right here. Now, one thing that you might find helpful in this conditional statement, you see how P is right here? I'm going to rewrite P. So true, true, false, false. So that's just a rewrite. And I'm going to show you why I did that. You can choose to do that or not. So this last column looks kind of menacing, but all it is the implication, the conditional statement for this to this. So I rewrote P just so they were going in that direction. Now, the conditional statement is a promise. It is only false when you have the true implies false. That means that if you think about it as a promise, that the condition was met but the promise wasn't kept. So true means the condition was met. False means the promise was not kept. So looking at the conditional for this, false and then true, that one's okay. True, true, that one's okay. True, false, that's the bad one. That means you met the condition but the promise wasn't kept. So that one's false. And then true, false, that one's false. You could have done this without rewriting this column. I chose to rewrite this column just so they were side by side. You could have just used this to this, but they're so far apart that sometimes causes people problems. So I just chose to rewrite that. So if I were doing this in Alex, I would have had to add this column, this column. You could have added this column as well if you wanted to. This one would have been given to you. So on the in-class assignment where I ask you to draw a truth table from start to finish, I mean that I want to see all this in-between work. Okay, let's do one more, and let's just go ahead and make this a big one, okay? Let's do one with 3 variables to it. Those are the worst. So we'll go ahead and just knock out one of those, because I know some of those in Alex can be quite daunting. Okay, so let's draw a truth table from start to finish. For R and Q or P and Q. All right. So we're going to start off with the usual suspects here, P, Q, and R. Those are always given to you. They do always start in the same kind of pattern, and that is 4 T's in a row, and then 4 F's in a row. With the Q, it's 2, and then 2, and then back 2, and then 2, alternating, and then the R's just alternate. True, false, true, false. That's because what we're going to learn when we get into probability later on in chapter 10 is that there's 2 choices for each truth value, true or false. And we have 3 different letters, so that gives us a total of 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8 different scenarios, 8 different arrangements of true, false, true. So here are my 8 different arrangements for that. All right, so this looks awful, but we're going to do this in steps. All right, so let's do R and Q. So we're going to do that column. Then I'm going to do a P and Q column. Then I'm going to do the OR of those 2 answers. So that's why I'm doing this work along the way. You are not supposed to skip this and just guess or try to do this in your head. That's a little too much for 3 truth values. Okay, so now we're doing the AND for R and Q. So really we're just doing the AND for these 2 columns. Remember the AND, the conjunction, only true when both of them are true. So we're doing R and Q here. All right, so the AND for that one's going to be true. Nope, they're not. Are they both true? Nope. Are they both true? Nope. Not both true. Oop, they are both true. Not both true. Not both true. Not both true. Now we're going to come back, we're going to do the AND for P and Q. So we're going to do it for these first 2 columns. Okay. If you have to like grab some paper and like cover stuff up, do that. If you find it distracting to have this other stuff in the way, go ahead and cover that stuff up if you need. All right, so I'm looking at P and Q. So they're both true. Both true, that's cool. No, 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 no. Remember, the AND is only true when both of those truth values are true. All right, this one, the only new thing is this OR. That's the only new thing that's happening, okay? This is an OR, the disjunction, for these 2 columns. So remember, OR is, if you say that I'm going to walk the dog or vacuum today. In order for that OR statement to be true, you have to do one or the other or both. The only way it's false is if you do nothing. So an OR is only false when both of them are false. Okay, so we're looking at these 2. So we're doing the OR for true and true. Okay, that one's good. False and true, that's cool. You did one. Remember the OR, one or the other or both. Do I do one or the other? Nope. Did I do one or the other? Nope. Oh, I did one of them, just not the other. Oh, I didn't do either one. Didn't do either one. Didn't do either one. Okay, so that's the final answer here. Remember in Alex that you can do those adding of the columns in there. That is helpful for me because as you guys do quizzes or homework, if you missed some little something in here, I can help find that, help you find your mistake, fix your mistake, and I can give you partial credit because I can say, oh, well, by looking at all this nice little work from these columns that were added in there, I can tell that you knew what was going on. Okay, so if you guys run into any other questions from chapter 3 so far, let me know. I am really, really sorry about having to cancel class today. I really am. So we've got just a few examples that I wanted to write up. I'm going to scan and include the summary. So if you guys want to print it out and keep it as a quick reference guide. And then of course, let's not forget about this in-class assignment. If you don't have a printer, it's okay, just write it on paper. You know, just write your answers on paper. That's cool. If you don't have a printer, don't worry about it. Don't stress out over it. Just, you know, just write in-class assignment 3. Don't forget that this is going to be due by Saturday. If you need some extra time, that's cool. Just let me know. And if you're struggling with it, you can always take a picture of it, send it to me, and say, hey, am I on the right track? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? And I will gladly help you. So, all right. Well, I hope this helps straighten out some of the stuff from week 3.